Now problems now, later problems later. We got a giant globule pod, uh, heartbeat-looking thing sitting in the middle of a tavern floor that anybody could come back to any moment. We need to
Yes.
figure
Can
out what the fuck to do
anybody?
right now.
Yeah. Can anybody identify what this is?
I'll start with a detect magic if nobody else is going to.
Hold on.
I would
Perhaps we should
love
move
to,
it
but that is not my skill set.
up to one of the rooms and out of the middle of the floor here. Yeah, I'm gonna make an executive decision on that. And Sonny grabs it.
Okay.
Like,
Yeah,
grab the other side. Morak, grab the other side. Let's get it up to
Okay.
a room.
I'll say, just for simplicity's sake, you are able to, after just through a few minutes, you get to the point where Morak's trying to go forward, Sonny just trying to pivot.
It's like trying to get that box spring up the fucking stairs.
It gets wedged for a little bit, but you guys eventually get it up into one of the rooms.
Now, you were saying, Artuk.
Right. I got some things I can do to try to figure out what it is, or at least, get a beginning of a read on it, and then we can decide with a little more information what we do with it. But we got to do something with it real fast, because this is not a good thing to have on our person. And it's way too big to hide. So I'm going to start with detect magic, David.
Okay. As you cast detect magic, what you immediately notice is that this kind of pod, the pod itself does not have any magic on it, but inside of it you get like a decent hit of psionic magic.
There's something inside of there, and the thing inside of there is glowing like everything we found in every one of those underground facilities so far. This is evil inherently, so be careful with it.
Maybe we shouldn't be.
Hey, Morak's gonna start looking at it closely. Can Morak God, can I recognize any symbols or anything on this?
Roll investigation and then intelligence.
Before he does that, I'm going to give him an enhanced ability on intelligence.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the one to do it. Cool. So you have advantage on intelligence rolls and checks.
Okay, and then just roll that intelligence check, just straight intelligence.
You said I had advantage on it.
You had advantage on both, so I just don't know why it's only 3.
Oh, I didn't know I had advantage.
Just roll the investigation check again, just to see, because that'll be easy. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
As you go over and look through the pod, you're not seeing, like, what you saw a lot with the rod, the psionic rod that you guys call a dildo, with the helmet that you saw the Archeron had, and even with the cube. Usually what it is similar to a lot of other magic, because there are runes carved into the surface. They might be light. You're seeing on this construct, this kind of pod-like carapace, I don't know the exact word for it, there aren't any of these runes on it. Except at the very back end, you see kind of in a very small, like kind of tucked beneath a bit of metal, it's not runes, but they look like of psionic. It's more like an interface. Unfortunately, just from that intelligence check, you don't recognize what they mean so much as you understand there is an interface here. And I'll say with that investigation check, you notice there are kind of 3 distinct inputs.
Okay, everybody. There's 3 button type things on here, but I don't understand what any of it means.
I know this is kind of bold a choice to make, and feel free to try to shoot this down if y'all want. But I figure that every time we've run into anything like this, it's spelled nothing but bad news. And in this town, other people know more about this shit than we do, and would know how to use this if it got into their hands. I say, well, we have it, and nobody else knows we have it. Let's just fucking destroy it if we can. That way, nobody else can use it.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I would rather not.
Zeka pipes in and says the thing that Will said, which was something about.
I think this is really interesting, so I don't know if we should break it. But let's not fuck with it
Oh,
right now before
he's- Yeah, he's very interested and wants to see if we can get it out of Harry and Magi to more thoroughly investigate it.
For the
But
love of...
because it gets a bad vibe from it, thinks it's too risky to fuck with before the heist. Just to use his words.
My concern, Zeka, with getting it out of here, is that we're gonna be running into the Bastion in a day or two here. We're gonna fuck with getting Ernest out of there, and our hope was to just, use our genie friend to teleport out from where we are. If we want to bring this out with us, we'd have to carry it into the Bastion with us, and that's a terrible idea.
I am indecisive, but firm in that do not open this before we rescue Ernest.
If I were to have my way with it right here and now, I would try to dispel whatever magic's going on in there, and then just, go ham on it with whatever weapons we feel like going ham on it with, and just dispose of it after that.
No, I really want to know what this is before we do anything to it, Zartok.
I can understand that sentiment. I just want to make sure that we do it in such a way that it's completely out of the hands of anybody else. We do it as safely as possible, and I don't know what means we have at our disposal to learn more about it right now.
Well, could we hire somebody to smuggle it out? I mean,
No,
we hired those guys to smuggle things in, right?
that is a very bad idea, I think, Sunny. I think we should only rely on ourselves for this one.
Yeah, I figured
Well,
the moment
here.
we put that... Oh, go for it.
What if, and Sonny turns to Zeka, what if we send Zeka to sneak it out right now?
I don't think that's a good idea. Fine, use an NPC, don't use a present passive character, bitch.
Also, Sonny, he is a very small boy, and this crate is larger than him.
Oh, I mean, necessity is the mother of invention. He'd figure it out. But anyway, so
I'll have Ode come upstairs, but just to be part of the conversation. But David, can you say like the areas feels secure?
You get the sense that Johnny Brassknuckles caused a major ruckus in the market. The whole city's on high alert, so you guys shouldn't leave, but you get the feeling people aren't going door to door here, at this point anyway.
Okay. So I guess Ode could say, well, Sonny, you said that you were smuggling it with the skinny walkers. I guess in terms of talking about options to smuggle it out of the city, if that's not something we could do, would that be something that you with the skinny walkers would do? I'm not quite sure.
I could talk to him, I suppose. It might be something we could do. I'm not really sure. I know Mr. Walker right now is probably going to be looking at getting even with the Weaves Guard, so I believe their focus is probably going to be on that for now. But perhaps I could spin it to him in such a way in which it would seem like this is a good idea to get back at them, because I guess it kind of is, because it is their shit that they want.
And then, short of us trying to get it out of the city, the only other option I could think of could be maybe Joro, and so then we have some potential options for getting out of the city, and then the kind of safest option, which would be trying to destroy it now. Just to kind of summarize where we're at, it seems.
I mean, so what do we hope to get out of investigating this thing further? Because as far as I've seen, almost every time we've interacted with one of these things, it's only ever been negative to us, aside from giving us a few weird powers we don't know how to use.
But I need to know, like, what all of this stuff mean. I know it's bad, but, like, eventually we will figure out something about what these things are. We found too much of it for it to not have a larger meaning right now, Artak.
I'm with Morak on this. When we found all that stuff at the old facility, there's definitely more. There's something going on, something that we don't understand that has to do with the Empire, I think, and this could be the next clue in that.
I can understand that. Yeah, I see where you're coming from with it. But that once again brings it to how do we get it out? And Ode brought up a decent idea with Joro there. If we could get him involved, and Skinny Walkers are a resource right now if we can finagle it right.
I'm going to Joro I think is our best bet. Whatever his skills are, I do not know. Zeka, if you could elaborate real quick on what Joro knows how to do.
Oh, I'm busy right now. Why don't you have Byron since he's talked to him a lot?
Oh, he has? I did not know that.
Yeah.
Hey, Zeka, what are you busy with there, bud?
Typing something
you're
up for Sunny.
You're just playing with bread dough.
I'm typing up a letter for Sunny. That way, if I die tomorrow or 2 days from now, I'm loose on time. Someone will remember me. Yeah, you asked the dark
raw
one.
dough.
Hey,
It
how
was going
about
to be
you
a
just
bread
tell it to
message.
me? You don't have to write it. I'll just tell it to me right now, right here now. I think in front of all of our friends.
Sunny, I love you more than a
Okay, Byron, what does Joro know how to do?
You remember the type of magic I used to use when I was with the Dust Dragon? You know, making black holes and things like that? That.
He just knows. So he also has Dusk Dragon powers?
Yes, but he doesn't understand what that means.
Does anybody ever understand what that means?
He makes it look like I knew a lot more, which is saying something.
Oh, God. We
Yeah,
want
you
him
know
to have
you
the
drag
device.
soul.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, if we could put Nistles on this thing so it doesn't glow magic anymore. And I've been spending the past couple of days digging holes under the wall that are big enough to fit a person through. We could send Joro out towards one of those holes with this thing, not glowing magic, and, you know, smuggle him there and let him dig down under the wall and go through one of the tunnels I dug. That's also our plan B, by the way. That's the reason I was digging is if the whole genie teleport thing doesn't work and we need a way out that isn't the gate, we got these holes. But we could try to let him get out through one of those holes and then, you know, reconvene with him after.
How large are these holes?
If you or I wanted to get through it, we'd be on our hands and knees, but we could crawl. And
Could we get this crate through?
David, this is a, you know, fair question here with, like, how is this thing the size of a body? That's around what I would say, or I was...
It's a little
imagining it
bigger
as.
than like a coffin.
Oh, so it probably wouldn't fit through a hole like that?
I will also just remind you that the big thing is not magical. It's the thing, whatever is inside of it, that is magical.
Sure, I think we were all just terrified to open it.
Yeah, but
So we
Nistles is a
already
touch
put
spell is the
Nistles-
reason I ask.
Oh, well, if this thing's still glowing magic like that, I think we might not have a whole lot of choice but to open it up in some way right now as safe as we can, because if this thing keeps glowing, we're going to get found.
Nobody has enlarge reduce, right?
A what?
This is Eric speaking.
Sonny, I don't know why pills have anything to do with this.
No, I don't think anybody does, Sonny.
No. I
We
could
could
make
go
it
down to the
move
local
slowly.
CVS.
We'll go down to the gas station.
Yeah, if you need an enlarge or a reduced pill, I mean, we can get you one, but you don't have organs. I don't know
You
what the
don't
point.
know me, okay? And he turns around and kind of rattles the bullet inside of him, kind of rattles around. Anyway, we'll talk about it later. I think opening it might be the best way. At least we can find out if it's something we should destroy, or best case scenario, we make a friend.
Well, I think that the best case scenario is actually that we're able to cast Nistles on it and then close it very quickly again.
Yeah, I agree with that. Before we do that, can we just have a contingency plan for if it, you know, we open it up and shit hits the fan, it jumps out at us, or, you know, something gets released or something like that?
Sonny
You know.
like holds out his hand cannon and like starts to spin up and glow.
Sure. Do I have permission if shit is about to hit the fan and we're trying to stop it to dispel whatever magic's on this thing as soon as that happens? In case of
Oh.
emergency.
That sounds like a good plan.
Yeah,
All right.
are we just doing this in this tiny room?
We can't bring it outside. They're looking for us.
I mean,
out on
we
the
could bring
street.
it back to the main floor of the tavern.
Why would that be better?
I don't know. It's just a slightly larger room. Oh no! If this is turning into a combat, I don't want it to be a room that doesn't give us anywhere to move.
Well, I mean, we'll be surrounding it, so if it comes up and it starts, being aggressive, we'll just circle around it and beat the shit out of it.
Yeah, I think this is better because it has less places to escape.
Okay, I guess if you guys don't want to be as fun with all the tavern maps that we have.
All right, it's settled then. We'll crack this bad boy open, cast Nistel's magic aura on it, and if it starts acting up, Artie here will hit it with that dispel magic, and if it's still acting up, we'll beat the shit out of it.
All right, then let's open this thing. Oh wait, before we do open it, Morak, I think you're the only one who innately has it. Could you try to communicate with this thing through your mind? See if it's got that kind of presence. That would be a way to probe and learn something before we start popping it.
That's a great idea, Artie.
I'd do it, but my shit's all locked up in a lead box.
I used strength of mind because that's the only way I currently have to show that I'm doing a mind thing.
Okay, you immediately destroy the wall and the crate. No.
Oh, I've gotten better at this.
No, okay. What do you... That's you kind of focusing that kind of psionic energy and trying to reach out to it. How... Just describe what Morak's thinking, how he's kind of approaching this mentally.
He's just trying to figure out what the hell's inside of it, honestly. He's gonna, put his hand, hover it near... You said there were 3 modules on the side of it?
Yeah, they're about the size of a fuse. As you kind of work with the interface, and your mind just begins to clear, and you close your eyes. And for cinematic purposes, I think you open them, and you just see that it's a purplish glow with you, right?
I've always imagined it as a bright blue.
Oh, okay. Then just this kind of bright blue just kind of begins to just kind of emanate from you. Just this kind of almost wisps of energy. And you just mentally reach out. It's a little tricky because you know about where it is, but you didn't cast Detect Magic. But you just start trying to establish this link. Roll a d20 and add your spellcasting modifier.
Wait, do you cast with intelligence?
Yeah.
You have advantage then, I believe. Because it's an intelligence skill check, right?
Yeah, I would count it for this.
Okay. Yeah, I haven't dropped that yet.
So it'll just be my intelligence saving throw, then, right? Do you add proficiency to a spellcast modifier?
Yes. For
Yeah.
this one, yes.
So intelligence plus proficiency. Luckily, yeah.
Oh, thank God.
Okay. Oh, that was... Oh, no. Okay. And as you do, your mind just kind of begins to probe around this. And eventually, you just kind of feel this moment of connection. And it almost jolts you. And just immediately, you just hear, this dissonant whisper. In just this language that you have no idea, but it begins quietly. And it just kind of begins to almost overwhelm you. After just a minute of it, and you're just starting to think, oh god, this is not good. It clears instantly. And you just see yourself just in an expanse, amorphous, and you just see an image kind of flash before you. Not even an image, just an impulse of just questioning. And directed towards you. And
Morak's just, confused as hell. Has he heard that voice before? That kind of language before?
Yes. I can't remember exactly when, but on Faldaran, when you kind of interacted with the map with it and kind of saw the globe of the world.
That's what I'm assuming. Is the same voice as what he heard when the eye looked at him.
Not the same voice, but the same kind of language. Because there was a voice that spoke out to you, and it was like you understood it to be maybe not common, but translate. You could understand its clear language.
Yes, yeah, I understood
Oh, okay.
one sentence, but I also heard other talking.
Yeah,
It's
yes.
the same language, though.
Yes. As you kind of just have this moment of confusion, you just feel this next impulse, frustration, then prodding. Make an intelligence saving throw.
Fuck.
Does enhanced ability give you just checks? Or
Nah, it's just checks.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay. For just a moment before you and before your mind, you see just flashes of images. These ones you somewhat recognize. You see Cathartus. You see a library, the one that you studied at in the royal palace. You see your home. You see the weapon training ground. Then you see just the streets of Cathartus, and it just kind of begins to move forward. You're not sure exactly what it means, but it's almost like just these images being like one frame instances or 1 or 2 frame instances just very rapidly pushed next to each other. And then you just hear, and then that kind of amorphous thing just kind of beckons you again, and this time you feel just this presence almost stating where.
So confused. But he starts thinking about the first computer he linked with.
Okay. As you begin to think of the computer, that kind of frustration in this presence fades away, but immediately you feel like this, like almost ravenous desire as you kind of think on the computer. Make another intelligence save.
Please, baby.
You feel this presence on you, but this one you're able to resist. As you just kind of feel it begin, and you start piecing it together that whatever this is, as much as you're trying to probe it, it's also trying to probe your mind for knowledge. And it seems more experienced at it than you. It failed this time, but yeah.
Can I gain any other read on what it is?
I'll say with that, just roll one more intelligence check. You have advantage on this one.
Okay.
Okay. As you kind of just probe it back, or even as it's trying to get into your mind, you suddenly see flashes before it. You see kind of, not the exact pyramid that you were at, but kind of an architecture reminiscent of it. You see other creatures. You see creatures that bear a somewhat resemblance to very early orcs or humanoids. Then you just see more of this architecture, and you see these green-skinned creatures attacking whatever this force is, kind of like green markings along the skin. And then you just see this image before you. This vaguely squid-like thing with just very tall, like 6-7 feet tall, 6-fingered, just purplish and this kind of fleshy skin. And for just a moment, what is something Morak wants to know from this?
What do they use these things for?
The pod, to be specific?
Yeah.
Life extension. They're placed in these things such that they can survive longer over time if wherever they were was being threatened. Think of like a cryostasis pod.
Okay.
You see in this mind's eye of yours whatever this creature is, it looks battered and weakened. Not dying, but very weak. Do you continue to try to maintain this connection?
Yeah.
Okay. Whoop.
Wait. So I learned that this type of creature is what's inside of it, right?
Yes. This creature explicitly is inside of this thing, of this pod.
Have I seen any skeletons in... Did we ever see any skeletons or anything else like this in one of the pods in any of the labs?
None like this. No.
Okay, Morak's gonna keep prodding to figure out what the hell these things did.
Okay, what is everyone else doing? You see Morak, and he has been kind of in this mental acuity for maybe a minute and a half at this point, and he seems very focused. You see his hands twitching every now and again.
What does he look like? He's in like distress or pain?
Yeah, I would like to just basically like try to keep inciting him, and if there's a moment where it seems like he's losing some sort of control or being hurt or something like that, I would try to drag him out of it.
Morak, do you feel in distress in any way?
You probably see the veins in Morak's like forehead and neck. Like, you know that meme with the one guy who's like all red and has all the veins popping out? That's him.
Then yeah, you see that before, but also, do you still have Detect Magic up?
No, because I cast Enhance Ability.
Okay. Then I'll say 2... At 3 minutes or so into this, all of you start to hear a noise. This kind of mechanical click.
I draw my bow.
Alright. And you see Sunny say, "Oh, sorry."
Oops.
He plays with his crotch and fixes himself.
But...
Sorry.
And then you just, after this click, you just hear this kind of liquid just dribbling at first, and then just, you start hearing the sounds of just liquid draining. You see the fluid just begin to drain from the pod. You see like steam begin to rise from it, and you see like a crease down the very center of it at the top, kind of like form as it looks like it's beginning to split.
Morak?
I'll shake Morak.
Morak, you hear their voices and you feel yourself being shook.
I still essentially in a room with this thing?
If you want to be, is how I'll phrase it.
So describe the scene. Is it still like me watching this creature like in an area, or is it more like me in a blank space with this thing across from me?
It is you in a blank space with this thing across from you. As time goes on, you see details begin to fill in, but it actually begins to resemble like the wider room. Particularly when Kezia calls your name and Ode shakes you, it begins to look like the tavern room.
Morak, there's a problem.
And more of that fluid begins
who knows how to
drain.
It's only Ode that can speak Orcish, right?
Yes. Well, and Byron, I guess.
Huh?
I think Byron too.
Okay. You hear Morak like say in Orcish, like, "What are you?" But in Orcish. I don't want to be offensive to my people and try to pretend to speak Orcish.
All of you at this point here at Morak's question, just this impulse in your mind. Everyone just gets it. And you all hear, "We are the inheritors of greatness. And just kind of that echoey voice just all around you, and just kind of pitching different tones. It sounds masculine then feminine. It kind of just is fading between it, kind of all speaking in one singular voice. I'm going to speak normally for the sake of it, of going forward. We are the inheritors of greatness. We who conquered the stars, and we who will return it to ultimate order. All of you hear that as you see more of the pod just begin to kind of widen. And inside it, you see this same creature that Morak is seeing kind of rousing awake before you. It is about 6.5 feet tall, this kind of purplish skin, and you see its eyes begin to open, and it begins to levitate out from the pod.
I mean, I feel like we had a contingency plan, and Artuk hasn't heard anything different since then, so Artuk's gonna go ahead and try to dispel it, whatever it is.
Are we gonna cast Mistols first?
Is
that?
It's like a creature levitating out of it. I don't.
Yeah, Ode says dispel it.
Yeah, I think that I'm gonna go ahead and dispel whatever this thing is, because it seems like we didn't do this.
Okay.
It's still supposed to be him trying to talk mentally with this thing, and suddenly it opened and started floating.
Okay. It is still floating out of the pod. Morak, for the thing you just sent me, roll again a spell attack. Roll Dispel Magic. Artuk.
Sure. Okay, I am rolling it.
I'm just gonna say, Ode, permission to shoot?
Yeah, of course.
Okay, I'm gonna shoot it.
Okay, everyone.
Okay.
Where is Kezia?
I had my bow out and I was aiming at it.
I mean, like, am I
Wait,
close enough
is-
to Kezia to stop her from doing that?
I say it out loud, so
Oh,
if you want
I
to
say,
say
don't-
something.
And yes, we're in a tiny little bedroom like Harry Potter. That's how I'm imagining this scene.
Okay.
Oh, Brandon here. I'd say, I wouldn't shoot that yet.
And well, I guess Kezia, do you shoot it after hearing Sunny?
No, I'll instead I will dip one of my arrowheads into the paralytic
Okay.
vial. And I'll get closer, like I'm gonna jab it into it eventually. But not yet. Like
Okay.
I'm waiting.
And Ode will go over to Morak and kind of put her arm or her hand on his shoulder and like, since shaking him didn't work, like just put her claws like very barely into his shoulder and be like, Morak, we need you back. Something's happening.
Morak, you succeed on that thing you sent, so how does this look, do you think?
Well, I was trying to do that before it levitated.
It is not yet out of the thing. It is just kind of beginning the process of levitating.
Okay, so, all of you guys see, like, Morak, like, his eyes stop glowing, and you see, the 3 modules on the back of it, like, glow in a strange order, and then you just see the pod just close up again, and the water stop draining, and Morak, like, falls. He was already, like, kind of kneeling down, but he, like, just falls on his knees and just, like, all hands on the ground.
And as you do that, and as it begins, you saw its eyes begin to open, and as the door recloses around this thing, you see for just a moment it like look around, very surprised, begin to claw at the membrane, and begin to reach out its hand towards, I'll say towards Kezia, because Kezia drew the bow, but then its eyes begin to kind of dull, and you see the tank begin to refill with that kind of liquid solution.